dark screen. The sound of crashing waves and whistling wind fills the background. A flickering corridor appears on screen. Suddenly, a loud scream echoes. The camera zooms in on a little girl in a soaked white frock, standing at the end of the hallway. She suddenly starts running towards the camera. It was 2 a.m. I was trapped inside the Queen Mary ship's engine room. There was silence, broken only by the metallic groans of the old walls. And then, a scream so loud, so close, that it felt like it tore right through me. When I turned around, no one was there. But when I looked back, a dripping little girl in an old frock was running straight at me. Sudden static cut, black screen, metallic sound effect with text splash. The haunted Queen Mary ship. My name is Michael, and what I'm about to tell you is not just another ghost story. It's something that changed me. Something that still haunts me every single night. It all started when my two best friends, David and Emily, decided we needed an adventure during our summer break. I'd always been fascinated with paranormal stories, and when I read about the Queen Mary ship in Long Beach, California, one of the most haunted ships in the world, I knew we had to go. We arrived late at night, around 11 p.m. The ship stood massive and dark against the ocean horizon. Its lights flickered faintly, swaying with the wind, almost like the entire vessel was alive, breathing. A tour guide showed us around for a while, telling us the safe history of the ship. But when the tour ended, we weren't satisfied. David smirked. "Come on, guys. The real fun begins when we explore the places they don't show tourists." Emily hesitated. "I don't know. This place already feels wrong." But the thrill was too tempting. We decided to sneak into the restricted areas of the ship. That's when everything started. We entered a long, narrow corridor. The walls were chipped, the paint peeling off, and the air smelled of rust and mold. Old cabin doors lined both sides. Suddenly, one of the doors slammed shut. "Just the wind," I whispered, trying to calm myself. But then, we heard it, a faint chilling laugh of a woman. It echoed down the corridor, bouncing from wall to wall. Emily froze. "Did you hear that? Someone's here." We shined our flashlights across the corridor. Nothing. The hallway was empty, but it felt like dozens of unseen eyes were watching us. David led us deeper into the ship, towards the infamous engine room, where, according to legends, a mechanic had died in a horrible accident. The moment we stepped in, the temperature dropped. The metallic scent of oil and something rotten filled the air. Suddenly, clang! A heavy metal tool fell onto the ground, the sound echoing sharply. "Who's there?" David shouted, his voice trembling slightly. And then we saw him, a shadowy figure of a man near the massive shaft. His head hung low, and in his hand was a wrench. I raised my flashlight. The beam touched his face, but the figure vanished into thin air. Only the echo of groaning metal remained. Emily screamed, "I told you! We shouldn't be here." But David grinned nervously. "That was just something in our heads. Let's keep going." The scariest stories about the Queen Mary are linked to its old swimming pool, where several young girls are said to have drowned. When we entered the pool area, the air turned ice cold. My breath fogged up in front of me. Even though the pool had been empty for decades, we heard the unmistakable sound of splashing water. And then we saw her, a little girl standing barefoot at the edge of the empty pool, her frock drenched as if she had just climbed out of the water. Her wet hair clung to her pale face. She looked straight at us and whispered, Wanna play? I love swimming. Emily's knees buckled. I couldn't move. David tried to shine his flashlight on her, and instantly she disappeared. But the poolside tiles were wet. Fresh drops of water dripped from nowhere, as if someone had just stepped out. Shaken, we stumbled into a nearby dressing room filled with giant old mirrors. I lifted my flashlight and stared at my reflection. But then, more faces appeared behind me. Pale faces, hollow eyes, lips sewn shut with invisible threads. I gasped and stumbled back. "Oh my God!" David rushed over. "What? What do you see?" "Don't you see them?" I screamed, but in his eyes, there was nothing. Just my reflection. The faces lingered, watching me silently. Then, one by one, they vanished into darkness. But I knew they were still there. At 2 a.m., we entered the boiler room, a place infamous for ghostly screams. The moment we stepped inside, the air turned freezing. My teeth began to chatter. And then it came. A woman's blood-curdling scream, so loud and so painful that it shook the metal walls around us. Emily broke down sobbing. "I can't take this. We need to leave." I turned to comfort her and froze.
Standing right behind Emily was a woman in a torn white gown. Her face was drenched in blood, her hair hanging down like black ropes. She leaned close to Emily's ear and whispered, "You smell like blood."
Emily shrieked and collapsed. We grabbed her and ran. Panting, we reached the ship's upper deck. The night air was sharp, the ocean stretching endlessly around us. "We're safe here," David panted. "No ghosts out in the open." But I knew he was wrong, because when I looked down into the black water, I saw faces, dozens of faces, men, women, children, all staring up from beneath the waves. Some screaming, some crying, others silently reaching out for me. Suddenly, a cold hand gripped my ankle, pulling me toward the railing. "Michael!" David grabbed my arm, trying to pull me back. Emily, still trembling, clung to my other arm. And then, I saw her again. The little drowned girl. She rose from the water, her eyes black voids. She leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Now you belong to us." I screamed, and everything went black. When I opened my eyes, it was morning. We were lying on the deck. Tourists and staff surrounded us, trying to wake us. Emily was unconscious. David's hand was cut and bleeding. And me? I couldn't stop muttering the same words over and over. The faces never go away. Even now, when I close my eyes, I see them, staring, waiting.